Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Flash Entertainment is passing the mic to some extremely talented emerging artists. This month's regional artist spotlight is Casey Hamada, the 20th featured artist so far, best known for blending English and Arabic rap and making it look easy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Welcome. So Casey Hamada, Casey is your real name? No.
No, it depends on who's asking. But my real name is Ahmed Hakimzadeh. Casey is just a name that I'd used as a pseudonym while playing online video games, and it just stuck. I was 11, and I don't think any 11-year-old should decide a person's future, but here we are. It stuck. It's a small city, so once you're known by one name, it kind of just like keeps going on and on.
There are now two Cases in town.
Yeah.
We haven't figured out the hierarchy yet, but we'll get there. For now, it's Casey F, Casey H.
No,
Absolutely.
it's Shakira. Okay. If you guys have been watching the show
fine,
today.
I'll be Shakira. So tell us, you were 11, you were playing video games.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was phenomenal. It was like right around the time the PlayStation was really picking up speed around here. So it was like a magical time because prior to then we had to use our imagination. Goodbye, imagination. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It really, funny enough, it was right around that time is when I got into music. And that was because of video games, of games like WWE, GTA, and the soundtracks kind of like informed my tastes growing up, and it really shaped my relationship with music. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Video games like GTA shaped your taste in music.
Yeah, because when you play the characters, you know, the loading screens had a certain theme song, and you get in the car and there's like actual radio stations playing music, and it was like a lot of hip hop and rock, and with WWE it was like a lot of rock. So I grew up enjoying a lot of aggressive music.
So from listening to music to creating music, how did that happen?
That's a good question. It was a long journey. But long story short is that at 11, we started writing lyrics in class, pretending like we were doing math. It was just like constant writing. It was just like a good way to procrastinate, but also because we were obsessed with guys like 50 Cent, Eminem at the time. That's what the radio kept spinning, and we were just eating it up. And we were just constantly writing lyrics, and you know, some people stuck with it, but for me it was just like a constant obsession. And at the time, English was my second language. I had recently joined an English school, but for some reason it was just like a lot of fun to do it in English and practice that. And then somewhere around 17, 18, I had discovered the advent of apps on iPads that like allow you to play music and make music, and so started teaching myself by hook or by crook. And then along the line, I got a laptop and just started fiddling with software until I got the hang of it.
How would you describe your style of music to people who haven't heard it?
It's high energy, it's loud, it's brash, and
it's loud and brash. Interesting.
Yeah. It's not typical hip hop that people are usually used to. There's no auto-tune. There's no computerized instruments. Even though it's all made in a computer, everything is kind of impulsively created and freestyled. And I think if you are familiar with like punk or rock music, you'd be more familiar with the kind of sound, because that's what I grew up on. But I also love hip hop, and I'm always trying to mash the two.
That's so our jam.
Yeah.
Like, heavy metal, pop goes punk.
Yeah.
Do you know pop goes punk? Like
No,
they
I'm not
take all
familiar.
these mainstream songs, like a Boyfriend by Justin Bieber, and they make it like heavy metal.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I need to check that out.
It's like our jam.
That could be my next album. Yeah.
I don't know if I have a jam.
I'll do some Dua Lipa covers.
Oh, you're saying can you sing one now?
What?
Like make it heavy metal?
No, I didn't warm up my throat.
Okay, so on your Instagram, you have like really cool colored hair. What's underneath that cap?
It's the next color, under construction.
It's under construction.
Under construction.
So it's bleached right now.
Perhaps, maybe.
Orange.
It could be anything.
We'll get a teaser. You know what you need to do? What we need to do is we need to clickbait the audience for future. So at the end of the show, we're going to show the hair. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that's their promise, not mine.
But before we get there, so you have a unique sound. And what is it like trying to break into the music scene in Dubai when it's an emerging music scene, I would say? It's still in its infancy. There's a lot of people trying to make it. So if you have a unique sound, does that make it harder?
I don't know why I hesitated. Yes, it is. It definitely is, because the audience here, thanks to the internet, I get in touch with a lot of people and a lot of tastes. And that's kind of what, again, shaped my sound. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword when you're connected. It's kind of like, like 90% of my listeners are outside of the UAE, so I get these analytics from Spotify and Apple Music, and but
That's
at
so
this,
interesting.
yeah, and at the same time, people in here are kind of used to a specific expectation of what a rapper or a musician is supposed to sound like. And the thing is, I was born stubborn. I owe it to my parents. And so I'm not willing to kind of like cut corners of ideas that I want to express to the world. And so sometimes it may come off a little unconventional. I love experimenting. I love experimental music. But people are opening up to it. They're seeing the vision, and there's been a great drive and boost of like unique artists coming in and blooming from homegrown talents. So for sure, it is definitely harder, but maybe my perspective is warped just because of the fact that I'm just getting started. Yeah.
So you use words like unconventional, experimental. Now, artists like, for example, Danny Aridi, they draw their inspiration through like emojis. You know, you can just make a song on emojis, like randomly. Yeah. So for you, where do you draw your inspiration?
It's primarily from stories that I encounter from people. For example, like a friend of mine and I will be talking about a certain topic, and just emotions steam up, positive emotions. And maybe we're talking about something like food reviews, because he's like a huge foodie, but he works as an engineer. And he just went on like a tirade. He's like, the only reason God wants me to be an engineer is because no one's ready for me to be a foodie reviewer. Like no one's ready for my food reviews.
We're not ready
Bro,
for it, man.
I've got the freshest outfits. I can speak 4 languages. If I did 4 reviews, no one's ready for it. It was just the most random circumstance. So I sampled his voice, chopped it up, made a beat out of it. And it was just like that energy he was giving me was very, there's this boastful spirit. And so I just made a boastful thing out of it. Other times I'm very in my feelings. It could be petty, it could be sorrow, it could be excitement. Woohoo, for example, was written out of when Drake did that like little Arabic stint. And so I was like, and then there was this article on Gulf News that said like 15 rappers you should listen to instead of Drake. And so I made that song kind of like in that spirit. It's like, yeah, cool. Some people will try to dip their toes in whatever they think is cool at the time, but this is like real life for us, and this is what we really do in our day to day. And each song kind of has that kind of story of a reaction to something else. Yeah.
So cool. What you're doing is amazing. And not only do your audience think so, you've also been picked up by Flash Entertainment for their Regional Artist Spotlight program. This is huge, guys, because it's putting emerging talents on a big stage. How did that come about, and what was it like to kind of get noticed?
Yeah, how did that come about? I can't say. There's a lot of backroom. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was
handshakes.
Yeah. No, it wasn't actually. If it was that simple, I think it would be a different story with less of a weight to it. How did it happen? I wish I could actually give you the step-by-step guide, but really all I did was create the music that I did, share my work, and I was lucky enough to connect with Flash through a show last year, and they heard the music and they liked it, and I'm so grateful.
Cool.
It was really as straightforward as that.
Well, can we tell you how we think it happened?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we had Jason Johnson on the show, who's the talent manager, and what's cool about this is like it's not a competition. They're literally just like ear to the ground, looking for talent. So it's not like you're throwing your resume or you're throwing your Spotify page at them getting heard.
Exactly.
They love you and they heard about you and they want to give you a platform. So
and I'm super grateful for it. I really appreciate the awesome work that they're doing, because if there's one thing a lot of conversation about the emerging music scene is that lack of a bridge between, I'd say, larger platforms and the upcoming artists, because obviously I think not just for artists, but the industry in a whole is emerging across all medias in the UAE. And then even as some traditional medias were just establishing themselves, the internet came, flipped it upside down. And so everybody's like, oh my God, what are we doing now? So I'm really appreciative of the work that they're doing. It's really bridging that much needed gap to introduce some homegrown talent to some homegrown ears.
So cool.
Yeah.
So 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself performing? What's the dream?
Okay, cool. That's a great question. At the end of the song Woohoo, I say Soul DXB next year. After that, Coachella. So I'm hoping that in 5 years I can even get past those two and tell you a couple of more names. But without a doubt, I think those are the main stages I can think of because I love live music and 90% of my music is catered for a live experience. So we do like visuals, we do synchronized lights, all that jazz. But also I want to write music for video games and films. So that's the next ambition after that.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be full circle, like where
Gotta
it all
do
started.
I have to just put my musical seed in some kid's ear and let him carry the torch.
That is so cool, guys. Well, the vision is there, the ambition is there. We wish you the best of luck. We cannot wait to follow your story as it continues.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, guys. That was Splash Entertainment's Regional Artist Spotlight of the Month. Casey Hamada, thank you so much for your time. And we are back with you tomorrow morning. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Peace.